She thought she was just helping someone out. But little did she know, that simple act of kindness would turn into a life-changing moment for both of them. Taylor Swift drives along a serene coastal road in the early morning, the soft hum of her car blending with the gentle sound of waves crashing against the shore. The sun is just starting to rise, casting a golden hue over the ocean, and for a brief moment, the world feels still. At 35, Taylor has become accustomed to the chaos of fame, but this rare moment of solitude offers her a chance to breathe, recharge, and reflect. The coastal road stretches ahead, and as she drives, she's reminded of the peace she rarely finds, away from the flashing lights, the media frenzy, and the constant buzz of her career. For the first time in what feels like forever, her phone sits silent on the passenger seat, and she relishes the calm. Yet, as she approaches a local gas station, she doesn't know that a simple stop to refuel will lead to an encounter that will forever change her life and the life of a stranger. The peaceful drive, which began as an escape from the chaos, will soon become the backdrop to an unexpected and life-altering moment of kindness and connection. Taylor pulls into the small gas station, her mind still lost in the peacefulness of her drive. She parks near the entrance, planning to grab a quick coffee before heading back on the road. As she steps out of the car, the cool morning air greets her, and she takes a deep breath, enjoying the quiet moment. But as she walks toward the store, something catches her eye, a woman sitting alone on the curb, just a few feet away from the gas pumps. The woman looks to be in her mid-50s, her shoulders hunched forward as she clutches a plastic bag tightly in her lap. Her clothes are worn and layered, as if she's been trying to shield herself from the cold for days. Her hair is unkempt, strands of gray peeking through. She stares down at the ground, lost in thought, as people walk past her without a second glance. A man in a business suit rushes by, barely noticing her. A mother guides her child away, as if avoiding eye contact will make the woman disappear. Even the gas station clerk glances at her briefly before turning away, uninterested. Taylor slows her steps, something inside her pulling her toward the woman. There is something familiar about her, though Taylor can't quite place it. She isn't begging, she isn't asking for help, she's just sitting there, as if she's waiting for something or someone. For a moment, Taylor debates whether she should step forward or just continue with her day. But the uneasy feeling in her chest won't go away. Something about this woman feels different, and before she can second-guess herself, Taylor takes a step closer. Taylor hesitates for a moment before stepping forward. She crouches slightly, lowering herself to the woman's level, and speaks gently, "Are you okay? Do you need anything?" The woman slowly lifts her head, her tired eyes meeting Taylor's. There's something familiar about her gaze, but Taylor can't quite place it. The woman doesn't answer right away. Instead, she studies Taylor with an expression that is both surprised and uncertain. After a few moments of silence, the woman speaks in a quiet, raspy voice. "You might not remember me, but I know you." Taylor's breath catches in her throat. She blinks, taken aback by the words. There's something in the woman's voice, something in the way she looks at her, that sends a shiver down Taylor's spine. Her mind races as she tries to connect the dots. Who is she? Where has she seen her before? The woman, sensing Taylor's confusion, offers a small, tired smile. "It's been a long time," she adds, gripping her plastic bag a little tighter. "My name is Lena." The name hits Taylor like a sudden gust of wind. She repeats it softly to herself, "Lena." The name stirs something deep inside her, pulling at distant memories that feel just out of reach. She knows this name, she knows this person, but from where? She searches her mind, trying to dig through the years, through the faces she has met along the way. Lena watches Taylor carefully, waiting for the realization to settle in. Taylor exhales slowly, the weight of the moment pressing down on her. She may not remember everything yet, but one thing is clear, this is not just a random meeting. This is someone from her past. Taylor furrows her brows, the name echoing in her mind. Lena. The familiarity lingers, but the memories remain hazy. She takes a deep breath, focusing on the woman's face, trying to place where she had met her before. And then, like a sudden burst of light in the darkness, a memory begins to take shape. It was nearly a decade ago. Taylor had been invited to a charity event in Nashville, one of the many she had attended in the early days of her career. At the time, her life was a whirlwind, constant tours, interviews, flashing cameras, and endless expectations. She had just finished performing a few acoustic songs for the audience, a small, intimate crowd gathered to support a foundation for struggling families. The event was warm and welcoming, filled with volunteers who had dedicated their time to helping those in need. After her performance, Taylor had stepped off the stage, greeted by handshakes and polite smiles from the organizers. That's when she saw her, Lena, a woman in her 40s at the time, wearing a volunteer badge and carrying a tray of bottled water. She wasn't like the others who had come up to Taylor that evening. There was no excitement, no request for a photo or autograph. Instead, she had simply walked up, offered Taylor a water bottle, and said, "That was beautiful." Taylor had smiled and taken the bottle, about to thank her when Lena added, "You have a way of making people feel like they're not alone." There was something in her voice, a quiet sincerity, a weight behind her words that caught Taylor off guard. Taylor had paused, reading between the lines. "Music does that," she had said softly. "It's helped me through a lot, too." Lena had nodded, offering a small, knowing smile. She didn't elaborate, but there was something in her expression, something unspoken that Taylor had noticed. It was a look of understanding, of someone who had carried burdens of her own. But before Taylor could ask more, before she could hold on to the moment, someone had interrupted them, an event coordinator, ushering Taylor away to meet other guests. The night had continued, filled with conversations and handshakes, and eventually, the brief exchange with Lena had faded into the background. But now, standing here at a gas station, looking into the eyes of the same woman from all those years ago, Taylor felt the weight of that forgotten moment pressing down on her. Had Lena needed help even back then? Had she already been struggling, hiding it behind that quiet smile? Taylor's stomach tightened at the thought. She had met thousands of people in her career, but something about this memory felt different, unfinished. She had walked away that night, unaware that Lena's life would take a turn for the worse. Now, fate had brought them together again. But this time, Taylor wasn't going to walk away. Taylor kneels down slightly, making sure she's at Lena's level, her eyes filled with concern. "Lena," she says softly, the name now feeling less like a distant memory and more like a person she should have remembered all along. "What happened?" Lena exhales slowly, her fingers tightening around the plastic bag in her lap as if it's the only thing grounding her. She stares at the ground for a moment before finally looking back at Taylor. Her eyes, once warm and full of life, now seem tired, like they've seen too much. "It wasn't always like this," Lena starts, her voice raspy but steady. "After that charity event, I was doing okay. I had a job, a small apartment, nothing fancy, but I was managing. Then I met someone. He seemed kind at first, said all the right things. I thought he loved me." She lets out a hollow laugh, shaking her head. Taylor listens intently, not interrupting. She can sense that Lena needs to get this out. "For a while, it was good," Lena continues. "But then things changed. He became controlling, little things at first. Telling me where I could go, who I could talk to. Then it got worse." She looks down at her hands, as if trying to wash away the memories. "The first time he hit me, he apologized right after. Said he didn't mean it, that it would never happen again. But it did. Again and again." Taylor's chest tightens, a lump forming in her throat. "I wanted to leave, but I had nowhere to go," Lena says, her voice quieter now. "He made sure of that. Took control of my money, made me dependent on him. By the time I finally got the courage to run, I had nothing left. No money, no home, no friends I could call. I was lost. She takes a shaky breath before continuing. I tried to start over, but it wasn't easy. Finding work without an address, without clean clothes, it's impossible. And somewhere along the way, I just gave up. I started drinking, trying to numb the pain. One drink turned into two, then into something I needed just to get through the day. Then came the pills. Anything to make it all go away, even just for a little while. Lena's voice wavers, but she doesn't cry. It's as if she's already shed all the tears she had left. I got help a few times, went to shelters, tried to stay sober. But the world doesn't give many chances to people like me. Every time I got back on my feet, something knocked me down again. She gestures around her, at the gas station, the street beyond it, the nothingness. And now, this is my life. Taylor feels an ache deep in her chest. She has met so many people throughout her career, but hearing Lena's story makes everything else fade away. For Lena, life had been a constant battle, and she had been fighting alone for far too long. But not anymore. Taylor swallows hard and reaches for Lena's hand. "You're not alone anymore," she says firmly. "Not this time." Taylor listens to Lena's words, her heart heavy with empathy. The pain in Lena's voice echoes in her mind, and it's clear that this is more than just a chance encounter. There's a deep, unspoken understanding between them now, a recognition that, in this moment, their lives have crossed paths for a reason. Taylor feels a responsibility growing inside her, something that pushes her to take action. Lena has been through more than most people could endure, and it's clear she's not asking for charity. There's a deep sense of pride in the way she carries herself, despite everything she's been through. But Taylor knows, as much as Lena might want to stand on her own, she needs help. Not just a one-time handout, but a real chance to rebuild her life. "I know you're not asking for anything," Taylor says gently, "but you don't deserve to be living like this. No one does." Lena looks at Taylor, her expression guarded, yet there's a flicker of hope in her eyes. She's used to people giving her pity, but Taylor's words feel different, genuine, with no strings attached. But pride still holds her back, and she hesitates before responding. "I don't want to take anything from you," Lena says softly, her voice shaky. "You've done so much already just by listening to me. I don't want to be a burden." Taylor shakes her head. "You're not a burden, Lena. You're someone who deserves a fresh start, a second chance." Her voice is firm, unwavering. "I've seen the way the world can treat people like you, like you're invisible. But you're not. I'm going to help you get back on your feet. You can stay with me, and I'll make sure you have everything you need. We can figure this out together." Lena's eyes well up with tears, but she doesn't let them fall. The offer is more than she's ever dared to hope for. She's been alone for so long, drifting from place to place, trying to survive. To hear someone, especially someone like Taylor, offer her a safe place, a chance to rebuild, feels like a dream she's afraid to believe in. For a moment, Lena just sits there, processing the words. Finally, with a deep breath, she nods. "Okay. I'll take your help." Taylor smiles softly, relieved that Lena has agreed. She reaches out to gently squeeze her hand. "You're not alone anymore, Lena. I promise." The decision has been made. Taylor knows this is the beginning of something meaningful, not just for Lena, but for both of them. It's a chance to heal, to rebuild, and to show that kindness can change a life. As Taylor carefully helps Lena into the passenger seat of her car, the quiet morning atmosphere suddenly shifts. A few people, having witnessed the interaction, start to gather around. The hum of smartphones being pulled from pockets fills the air as bystanders begin recording the scene. Taylor, always used to being in the spotlight, feels a familiar sense of unease creep in. But this time, it's different. This isn't about her music or her fame, this is something deeply personal, something she wants to do from the heart. A woman in the small crowd steps forward, her voice carrying across the parking lot. It's amazing how Taylor is helping her. Such an inspiring act of kindness, she says, her words laced with admiration. The others nod, murmuring their agreement. Taylor feels the weight of their gaze, the phones pointed in her direction like silent observers. She's no stranger to attention, but this feels uncomfortable. She didn't help Lena for praise or recognition. This wasn't a PR stunt or an opportunity to look like a hero, it was a moment of human connection, an effort to make a real difference in someone's life. Lena, sitting quietly in the car, doesn't seem to notice the growing crowd. She's lost in her own thoughts, the reality of what's happening still sinking in. Taylor glances at her, then turns back to the group of onlookers. With a calm but firm voice, Taylor responds, "It's not about the camera. It's about doing what's right." Her words are simple, but they carry the weight of truth. She didn't help Lena for the accolades, nor is she looking for validation. This is a genuine act of compassion, something she believes in with all her heart. The crowd quiets slightly, and a few people lower their phones, understanding the sentiment behind her words. Some continue filming, but the atmosphere shifts. What was once an attempt to capture a viral moment now feels more like an intimate, raw exchange between two people, a reminder that even the most famous faces can still be driven by simple human decency. For Taylor, the attention doesn't matter. What matters is the change she's making, not only in Lena's life, but in her own. She feels her heart soften as she closes the door of the car, ready to drive Lena to a new chapter, away from the crowd and the cameras. They both need space to heal, to find peace. The world can watch, but for now, this act of kindness is just between them. Taylor takes Lena to a small, cozy home in a quiet neighborhood, far from the hustle and bustle of the city. It's not a mansion, but it's warm, safe, and comforting, a place where Lena can start over. With Taylor's support, Lena connects with local services that help her overcome her struggles, from addiction counseling to job training. Slowly but surely, Lena begins to rebuild the pieces of her life that had been lost for so long. Every step she takes is a victory, no matter how small. Over the weeks and months that follow, Taylor stays in touch with Lena, checking in on her progress. They meet for quiet lunches or walks through the park, sharing simple moments that help heal the wounds of the past. Taylor watches as Lena regains her confidence, her spark returning little by little. The two women, who had once been strangers, now share a bond that runs deep, a bond forged by kindness, compassion, and the shared experience of being human. One afternoon, as they sit on a park bench, Taylor gently asks, "Are you happy, Lena?" Her voice is soft, but her question is genuine. Lena looks at her for a moment, a smile creeping onto her face. It's a smile that radiates peace, something she hasn't had in a long time. She takes a deep breath, then answers with a quiet conviction, "I'm finally free." "Thank you, Taylor." The simplicity of the words holds a power that both women feel in the moment. Lena is free, not just from the streets, but from the heavy burden of fear, loneliness, and regret that had weighed her down for so long. She is free to live the life she deserves, a life full of hope and possibility. And in that moment, Taylor realizes that she has played a small but significant role in making that freedom a reality. As the story comes to a close, it leaves behind a powerful lesson about kindness. Taylor's act of compassion wasn't about seeking recognition or praise, it was about doing what felt right, about helping someone in need without expecting anything in return. It's a reminder that the most meaningful acts of kindness often go unnoticed, yet they have the potential to change lives in ways we may never fully understand. For Taylor, this journey has also helped her rediscover what truly matters: compassion, connection, and the power of making a difference, no matter how small. In helping others, she has found a sense of purpose and fulfillment that fame and fortune could never provide.